All right, guys, I think we're live. Welcome. Super excited to have you guys. If you can hear me, do me a favor and just drop something in the chat. Say that you can hear me. Say hello. I'd really like to know where everybody's from also. If you can drop that in the chat and also where you're at in your tax deed journey. I know we just got wrapped up literally this morning, 2 hours ago, was the final batch of our tax lien season in Florida. Miami-Dade had a little surprise overnight, and they dropped a cleanup batch, which was interesting. So there's about 60 on that cleanup batch, and I ended up getting about 8 more tax liens, and the largest tax lien I've ever bid on was $16,000, but it was a really good property. So I figured there's no way to lose. All right, Greg, thank you. So I've got two of my 3 Gregs in here. Thank you, Greg C. I believe Greg K is in here as well. Let's see, we got Selwyn. Is that, I hope I pronounced that right. Tampa, you're right across the bridge from me, bro. Let's see, we've got Selwyn, Greg, and where else is everybody from? If you can just drop it in the chat, I'd love to know. I know we got a lot of Florida people in here too. So I'd really like to know where you guys are in tax deeds. If you're a newbie, let me know, because I'm going to base this presentation and the webinar around where everybody is at as far as experience-wise. If you guys are experienced, let me know if you've had 1, 2 tax deeds, if you've had 10 or 100, because I don't want to bore you with the basic stuff. But if we do have some newbies in here, that's great, and I'd like to just do a quick review of tax deeds if so. So with that said, we'll go ahead and start. Let me see here. We've got a few others coming in. Hey, guys, if you're just showing up, go ahead and drop in the chat where you're at in your tax deed journey. I think a lot of you have talked to you before, and you're kind of new to the situation. You've done some research, which is great. This webinar is going to be very informational. So if there is anything that you guys want to learn along the way, or you have questions about, just drop it in the chat. I'll be sure to answer everything, at least until the end. So let's see, we've got Lola from Arizona. Hey, Lola. Let me know where you're at in your tax deed journey. I think we've got a couple of you that have already bought some tax deeds, and that's great. So let's see. With that said, yeah, go ahead and keep that chat going. I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation, guys, just so we can get rolling with the data and all the good stuff and make it a little juicy for you here. Just real quick, I do want to do an overview of the basis of tax deeds and the difference between tax deeds and liens, because that is the biggest question that I get, is people confusing liens versus deeds. We just wrapped up our lien season. If you're just coming into the room, we literally wrapped up the Florida tax lien 2025 season 2 hours ago. Miami-Dade was the last one to go off, and they had a cleanup batch. So that's been done. We're done with liens for the year. Liens will come back next year. We'll start doing some stuff around those around March or April. So make sure you look for that, next year if you're only interested in liens. This presentation is going to be all about deeds, okay? So let's go ahead, and just so you guys, obviously, I'm Jesse Jameson, the tax deed dude. Somebody gave me that name one time, and it just stuck. So I'm not serious. I'm totally goofy. I love having fun. So hopefully you guys do too. I basically started my journey with tax deeds about 10 years ago. I got into tax deeds and liens at the same time. I started to do a couple more real estate situations, probably like a lot of you guys. I got into mobile homes, vacation rentals, single family flips. I never got into wholesaling because sales is not my deal. I like the data part of it. So that's why I really am interested in the tax deeds, because you can do everything from home basically. So this is just a couple quick photos of me working in mobile homes. This is baby Jesse working on mobile homes. I thought I'd throw that in there for shoots and goggles, make you guys laugh a little. But really, I got into this for my kids, right? So this photo was taken the year that I quit my job. And pardon my cats. They like to make cameos. Basically, I took this photo when I first took my kids to Disney. I'm a dad of twins, boy and girl twins. And this photo really eats at my heart, because I had been working so hard to get that 9-to-5 job that paid 6 figures. And I finally got it when I got my MBA. And I hated it. I hated going into the office. So that's when I started looking into tax deeds. So it was shortly after I started working tax deeds, that I got to take this vacation with my kids. And I'm hoping that that kind of, resonates with you guys too, because that's the whole reason I started the Tax Investors, is to help other people do what I did. I really, really want to help you guys get that time, freedom, money, all that fun stuff that they talk about. So this photo was taken just a few weeks ago. We take an annual Easter camping trip. So just so you guys know, this is just one thing that I absolutely love, is being with my kids, and tax deeds definitely does that for me. So I'm hoping this kind of helps you guys too. And I would love to have this as your journey as well. So with that said, who else wants more time, money, and freedom, right? Drop it in the chat. I'd really love to know why you guys are here. And I also want to know the one thing that you want to learn today, because this is an educational webinar. I'm going to get into the data in just a minute. So go ahead and drop in the chat why you're here, and one thing you want to learn today. And then we'll go ahead and start on the data portion of this. So I'll give you guys just a second to do that while I figure out how to get these slides off. All right, so we are going to go into the data aspect, which I love. Let's get some data going. All right, who's excited for data? Anybody? Anybody as nerdy as me? All right. So guys, data this year. Okay, so this is what you're looking at on the screen. Drop in the chat if you can see this. I just want to make sure that you guys can see the Excel sheet that's on my screen right now. All right. Yep. Selwyn, want to be able to keep working from home for myself and generate living income. You can do that with tax deeds, certainly. And I just want to preface this. I only bid on vacant land. And there's a reason for that, because I don't want to deal with the whole tenants toilet situation. I have done the mobile homes. I've only ever lost money on a tax deed with a mobile home. And it was actually a recent one I did. I did not realize how bad the property being close to an electrical easement would affect the price. Nobody wanted to be next to power lines. I thought it was cool because you could take out ATVs. You could rent the property for cow grazing or horses, but it was very hard to sell. So that was a very big lesson for me, that I never wanted to buy another mobile home or anything with a living structure, because you just don't know what's on it. If you're here for that, I'd love to know which types of properties you guys are interested in. If you can drop in the chat and let me know what you're interested in, because otherwise I'm only going to do this about vacant land. What you see on your screen is actually every single property that is up for auction this month throughout Florida. Okay, this is all the platforms and everything. I use realauction.com. That's my platform go-to. They have the most counties in situations like that. And I'll show you that one real quick here. So like this is Santa Rosa. So you can see down here, this is the tax deed platform that I go to, this Real Tax Deed. It's run by Real Auction, or Real Foreclose, they call it. There's also foreclosures on here as well if you're interested. But you can see here they have all of these Florida counties. Okay, and these are the major counties, guys. So we got like Citrus, Hillsborough, Miami-Dade. Almost all of the counties go here. There's a few that are on a different other platform. And if that's what you prefer, that's great. I really like to use Real Tax Deed. So, all right. So Greg, see, you got vacant land. Awesome. Yep. That's what we are here for. And I'm going to show you why, because when I say I don't get out of bed for less than $10,000 a deal, I mean that. I don't say that arrogantly. It's that I don't want to make less than 10,000. I could do seller financing on 20 deals to make $10,000 over 5 years, or I can focus on one property and sell that and make $10,000. So I started doing the little deals here and there. And if you only have a little bit of money, that's great. You can start with that. You can start with seller financing, kind of build up passive income. But I personally like to have that cash. I like to have that hard cash. So with that said, I like to do the vacant land. Okay. So this is the platform you can see here. If you guys have never been to this platform, I would suggest you go ahead and go and register. If you go through here and go to, just create a username and password, that will register you on almost every county, but you may need to do it again for the bidder. Okay, so if you go to bid, but just go to this auction calendar here and you can see what's coming up. So we only have 3 in this county. I know that Polk and Putnam are the biggest ones, right? So we'll just go to Polk and you can see the difference. So Polk has 141 originally. So it's saying 125 out of 141. That means they started with 141 properties when they advertised this. Okay. Since then, I can't do math real good. 16 properties. 16 properties have since been paid off or have been paused for some legal issue or going into probate or whatever. So you'll see this number, this 125, start dwindling down when you get closer to the auction. So that's kind of important to know because I don't like to do research more than a few days out. And it seems like a lot. Like I know this is a lot to research, but I kind of have a way to filter things and know which ones are going to actually make me 10,000 and which ones aren't. And it eliminates the majority of the properties that I don't want to bid on. Okay. So let's see. We got a couple other comments. It's not big enough to read. Oh, gotcha. Michelle, thank you very much for that. Hopefully, does this look a little bit better? And then Selwyn, realauction.com. It's actually realtaxdeed.com. But if you just go to, so Real Auction does a lot of different types of platforms, but you can go to this clients tab on realauction.com and go to Real TDA. That stands for tax deed application. So these are the clients usually that have the tax deeds. There's more than that as well. Sorry, this is not the one. Let me go back here. Real foreclose is the one that you want. So that's with the tax liens. This is for the client list for here. So if you go down here, these are all the tax deed sales that you'll find. Again, that's realauction.com. Go to clients and then real foreclose. Just to confirm, so these also have the foreclosure sales, which are different than the tax deed sales. So just make sure you know that. Some of them will actually combine them. So you'll see like Calhoun County will actually have foreclosures and tax deeds on the same map, on the same calendar. And they don't have a whole lot, do they? No, they don't. Let me go to a different one here. There we go. So you'll see Charlotte County. So you'll see tax deeds are in orange and the foreclosures are in blue. So just be careful with that. You want to make sure you want to do the tax deeds, okay? All right. Any other questions before I move on from that? Real quick, I realized I skipped a couple of slides as far as tax deeds and the history and the liens. Do you guys want to go back and see that? Let me know, and I can go check on that real quick. Let's see, 1, 2. Okay, let me go back real quick just to do a synopsis of what tax deeds are in the tax lien process, because I know a couple of you have asked about this. Personally, I've talked to you, and I just want to make sure everybody is on the same page because it is a little confusing between the two. So let me get my slides back up here, and if you guys have any comments, questions along the way, certainly drop it in the chat. I'd love to know what you're thinking. I'd love to answer any questions. But basically, we all kind of know what a tax deed is. It's just a piece of paper that technically it's an e-document now that tells the person that did not pay the taxes, you're buying a property. So the difference between a lien and a deed, a lien, you're paying off the taxes and you're just getting a piece of the actual lien of the property, meaning you can't actually get the property until it goes to the tax deed application. Then you get the property through the tax deed auction. So like I mentioned, our lien season is over. Right now we're going into deeds. So the big difference between those is that a tax lien, like I said, you're only getting the lien, you're only paying the taxes, but the tax deed, you're buying the property. Okay. And I like to mention it kind of like the liens are passive income. I only do my retirement accounts with buying liens. So I let them sit there all year long and collect, anywhere from 5 to 18% interest. And let that ride out for the year. And then come up next season, I'm bidding on more properties and just, replenishing that. Tax deeds are all year long. There's literally a tax deed auction going on almost every single day. during the week, you can find one. It's just a matter of which counties you want to bid on. The risk for liens is very low because obviously, unless you get a junk lien, you're always going to get your money back. Tax deed, it is a little bit higher risk. There are some where, your biggest obstacle is going to be other liens that do not get wiped with the auction. So things like municipal liens, like even like water bill liens, because that's usually by the county. If you have, mostly it's like the land clearing liens for a house that's been demolished. Okay, so you got to watch out for that, because you may bid on a property that's like $20,000, but you may have $25,000 worth of liens that have racked up over the years, and now you have nothing. You now have to pay for a property that has nothing, and there's a whole nother situation you can do with that. But just so you know, that's the number one thing I tell people to look for is liens. Okay, let's see. All right, Lori in the house. Hello, Lori. All right, Lori, if you're just joining us, please feel free to drop in the chat any questions, any comments that you have. I'd also love to know where you're at in your tax deed journey. If you guys are new, or if you've had any, if you've purchased any properties, sold any properties, would love to know that, because I'll cater this to everybody for that one. So with that said, reasons why people don't pay their taxes, that's pretty easy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can go on. Usually it's because there's somebody that has died. That's the majority of what we see. There's bankruptcy, miscommunication between the mortgage company. There could also be, it's just not valuable for the liens that have gone on it. So if it's a $5,000 piece of land and now the county has bulldozed, like I said, the property, and you owe $7,000, well, they're not going to pay the taxes on a worthless property because they have to pay off the code enforcement. Okay, so hopefully that makes more sense. All right, Lori's a beginner, Cincinnati, Ohio. Awesome. We love newbies, Lori. We love it. So tax deed timeline. Okay, so this is what kind of confuses people a little bit. So what's going to happen? Somebody doesn't pay their taxes. In November, the taxes go out. Okay, so I'm a property owner. I get a message from the county saying my taxes are due on April 1st before they go to a tax certificate sale. That's when the lien gets sold between May and June. All right, we're right at the end of June, just finished the tax lien season. All the tax liens that I bought this year, I have 2 years that I have to wait before I can put those to a tax deed auction unless they get redeemed. So if I bought a lien today and it gets redeemed within 2 years, I get all my money back and I get my interest back and I'm happy, good to go. In 2 years, if that is not redeemed, I can take it to a tax deed auction. Okay, I have to pay off all the other taxes. Okay, that's just how it is. I have to pay off all the other taxes, but I'm going to get my money back. It's going to go to a tax deed auction. Okay, that sometimes takes 6 to 9 months depending on the county. I actually just found out Key West. I forget the name of the county in Key West. They only do theirs once a year, which is not fun. So I have to wait a whole year. I actually just applied for a tax deed auction in October, and I hadn't heard from them. And come to find out that they block it off in June. So I have to wait until June for the next tax deed auction next February. It's a little ridiculous. But regardless, my money's sitting there making 18% because that's what the law states. Because I'm a tax lien holder, I've applied for a tax deed. All of my money is now making 18%. So again, that's a lot of information. That's not what this webinar is about, but I just want you guys to understand where that is and where we're at in this process. So the tax deed auction is what we're talking about now. So somebody has paid the taxes, they brought it to auction. When you win the auction, it's about 2 to 4 weeks before the county will send you the tax deed. I've actually had it where I actually had Okaloosa just sent me a tax deed in like 2 days. It was a ridiculous amount. So some of them are really fast. Some of them take, up to 30 days. It just depends on how fast the county can get it to you. So is there any questions with the timeline of tax deeds and tax liens? So I want to make sure you guys are getting all this and you guys are getting all your good information. All right. So basically what I just said, the tax deed process. Okay. So this is the auction process. You register, you register, you put in your bid, you put in your deposit. Okay. And then you put in your bid and then you win the auction and then you pay for it. It's pretty easy. Okay. It's pretty easy. The due diligence is what catches everybody by surprise. So Really what we're talking about today is vacant land. I only buy vacant land because I love it. I don't have to visit the property. I can sit and eat bonbons on my couch petting my dog and still make tens of thousands of dollars. It's incredible. I don't know why more people aren't doing this, which is why I'm creating this group, right? So here we have vacant land, residential properties. They're the two most common. We all know that. Single family homes, if you're here looking to buy single family homes for $5,000, that's not going to happen in Florida. Okay. All these gurus are on YouTube, and it really ticks me off. I'm sorry, but I get very upset about this. It ticks me off when there are other people out there that are saying, oh, I can buy a home for $500. Maybe in Louisiana. Okay. I've done that. Maybe in Louisiana, maybe in Georgia, not in Florida. You are not going to buy a home in Florida for $5,000. If you do, it's bulldozed and it probably has a sewage plant put on it. Okay. Let's just be honest. So if you're here for any of that, I would walk away and start looking at vacant land. We do have less common property types. These are kind of cool to check out. Obviously, again, commercial properties, you're not going to buy for pennies on the dollar. There are enough investors out there now that are watching every single auction. Maybe a few years ago, like 5-6 years ago, we could have got these in incredible numbers. But unfortunately, we don't have those anymore. So real quick questions. I want to make sure that you guys understand the process before I go into the data again and we jump back into that spreadsheet. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat so I can answer them and make sure you guys are all on board and we're on the same page. All right, I hope that I'm not overloading you guys either. That's my biggest concern, is I'm overloading with so much information. I do get excited with the data, so please stop me, tell me to slow down, explain something if you don't get it. Let's see, Michelle says, have you ever been to a live tax deed auction? Yes, it's really fun, actually, and I would recommend if you are in Florida and you're close to one that actually does this, the courthouse step auctions, they call them, where you have to actually walk into a place near the government house to the registrar's office, and they do actually have live auctions. It's a lot of fun, and I will guarantee that most of the people there have been doing tax deeds for probably over like 15, 20 years. It's all the kind of like, you know, the OGs of the tax deed world, and you can learn a lot about that from them. So I've been to those auctions. I've bid on a few of them. It's a lot of fun, but the problem is you have to have the money when you go there. Like, they have to have a cashier's certificate, and you know, nobody carries around like 20, 30,000 in cash. So you have to make sure your bank is close by so that you can run there within the next 2 hours to pay for it. It's usually paid for the same day. So I don't go to those anymore. And a lot of the counties are now online. So like Marion County is a great example of that. I went to Marion County about 2 years ago, and within a few months they were on real foreclose. So it's pretty cool. Okay. Lori asks, Evans, you put D in, do you only buy tax deeds in Florida? No, I do tax deeds in other states. Florida is my go-to. I would say about 90% of what I buy is in Florida. A lot of the other tax states that the states that I work in are once a year. So like Tennessee, Louisiana, those are once a year normally. Sometimes they have pop-up counties, but Florida is the absolute best, in my opinion, with the data that they provide. And even some counties will give you the the title search on the back end. Okay, that's a little secret that I have that I can share with you guys later on. But sometimes you can even find the title search and you don't have to do that yourself. So I like Florida for that reason. Everything's done online. I know the process, I know the laws, I know the statutes, and I know which liens are going to surpass, which is, I believe, Lori's next question. Type of liens that don't go away if you bid. So don't go away if you win the bid. That's a great question. Probably the number one. And the easiest way to explain that is government. Okay. Government liens. So code enforcement, if you have any water bills, utility bills, things like that. It's usually land clearing stuff, like I mentioned earlier, or somebody bulldozing the house. So if somebody dies, doesn't have an heir, it'll sit there and rot. We all know those Frankenstein houses. If they have to bulldoze it, the county's going to do that and then put a lien on the property, and they're going to charge for that. And they want their money back. Trust me, you can negotiate some of these. A lot of times, if they have done a lot of work like that, they're gonna fine you. Okay, so those are the liens they're gonna circumvent. Mortgages wiped, HOAs wiped. Okay, so if you see a lien, just ask yourself, is this from the government? And I think that is the best way to explain it. All right. So hopefully that answered your question there, Lori. Michelle says, do you know which counties allow for mobile notaries and e-filing? Great question. There's actually not any notary situation that I can think of that you would need to do with tax deeds. Everything's online. And as far as the filing goes, so the process is with most counties, if I win an auction, so say I go on today, I win an auction, I'm going to either send a wire, which most counties take wires, and I'm going to send a wire to the county and pay for it. And then the county is going to write up a deed and they're going to send it back to me. And it's that easy. Okay. Some counties only take cashier's checks, which I would recommend you guys looked into before that happens, because that happened to come up recently where I didn't realize the county didn't take a wire and I was about 2 hours away from the county. So make sure they can take those wires or the cashier's checks you can overnight, but make sure you tell the county the tracking number and get them to say that it's okay, because normally you have to pay the next day. It's like by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And if they don't know that cashier's check is coming, they may cross off that bid and you may lose the property and your deposit. Okay, it really is a stinky situation if you can't get a hold of someone at the county. So with that said, let's see. Oh, when you sell the property. Yeah. So Michelle, this is the same situation when you sell a property. So just like if you were to sell your home to somebody in Texas, you can send a mobile notary to Texas. It really just depends on the title company that you're working with. Doesn't matter if it's a tax deed or not. It's the same situation. All right. And let's see. Hopefully that answered the question about the liens, the notaries, the e-filing. How can we tell if these properties have liens on the land from the government before buying? Great question. So that is where the title search comes in, and also the due diligence. That's probably going to be the hardest part of buying a tax lien a tax deed is researching beforehand. That is the biggest mistake I see newbies make, is they think all the liens wipe out and they don't. So what you can do is either hire somebody to do a tax search. And we do have somebody in our group, Farouk, who does that very well. You'll see a lot of his posts. He's great. He manually does the search for you, but you do have to give him like 2-3 days to do that search. So he's very reasonably priced. Some counties do have their records online. So if you Google, say, Osceola County tax deed search or tax deed records or register of deeds records, sometimes you can find those online. All right, hopefully that answers your question there, Selwyn. Lori asks, what states offer OTC purchasing options? Yes, great question, Lori. So if you don't know what OTC means, that's over the counter. So OTC is normally related to tax liens, right? So when we're paying for the taxes in the beginning, okay, tax deeds are different. Tax deeds, they're called lands available. That is the lands available list. And any county that has somebody that didn't pay for the tax deed, or say they bought the tax deed and they don't want to take ownership of it, they can send it to the lands available list and try to sell it to a third party and get their money back later on. So I don't want to confuse you with that, because it's a whole nother process with the lands available list. But you can look at the lands available list for any county, or you can call them and see if they have anything. I would not recommend you buy these. This is going back to a post I just made recently with OTC liens. You're buying junk. And I don't want you guys to buy junk. I want you to buy profitable properties. There's no reason to buy a lands available property when you can bid on a perfectly good property this week, okay, today even. So hopefully that answers your question. I know there's a lot of, like I said, gurus. They'll say like, oh, you can buy these 18% liens over the counter. Well, they're junk liens. They're wastelands, and you're never going to get your money back. I'm sorry. Same thing with the lands available lists. There's a reason it's on there. Okay, with as many investors that are out there, somebody would have picked that up if it was decent. Okay, let me just put it that way. Let's see. Michelle says, when I would sell the property, would the registry of deeds in Florida e-file a deed that has been notarized with a mobile notary. So what happens when you buy the tax lien? When you pay for your tax lien, Michelle, it's going to go to the county, like I said, and the county is going to write you a tax deed and put it in your name. So you own that property with a tax deed, okay? What happens is a lot of title companies will not provide title insurance when you go to sell the property. So like right now I have a property in Marion County, and I am waiting until I get an offer on it, because right now I own the property. I can go on there. It's my property. I can do whatever I want. But if I want to sell it to another person with title insurance, I have to clear that title, right? Most people will not buy something that has a tax deed title because they know that it's clouded. There is a company called Tax Title Services, and they will clear that title for less than $2,000 in 30 days. And that is ridiculous. I've never found anybody that does it faster or cheaper, okay? So if somebody's telling you, if a guru is telling you that you have to do a quiet title for $4,000 to $5,000 and it's going to take 5 to 6 months, stop listening to that guru, okay? Again, the things that they say make me so upset sometimes. In Florida, you do not need to do that. And in a lot of other countries, see, I'm so upset. In other states, you don't have to do that either. If you go to Tax Title Services and see their website, they have a map of all the states that they work with, right? And that is the thing that you don't have to wait, okay? That's a lot of reasons why people don't do tax deeds, because they're old school and they think you have to do the quiet title. You don't have to do a quiet title. A quiet title involves a lawyer. It involves sending the letters to the previous owners that the county has already done, okay? The county has done the work for you. And that's why Tax Title Services is great, because they'll go back and say, hey, we saw that the county already did the work. They basically did the quiet title work for us. We're going to certify this, for less than $2,000. We're going to certify this and go to a title company that takes that certification, and they will take the title insurance. It's like insurance before your insurance. I don't know how to explain it better. So that is the best way to do it, as far as like there's no real e-filing. Like the county does the e-filing for you when you buy it, and then it's yours, and then you do whatever you want with it. So hopefully that explained, Michelle, your question. If not, let me know, and I can explain a little bit more detail if you have any other questions with that. Okay, what are they called? Oh, Lola, what are they called again, please? Hopefully I answered that. Yep, Tax Title Services. Thank you, Selwyn. Yep, Tax Title Services. Bruce there is the owner. He's great. They basically work with any title company that will take their certification, which in my opinion, I've not found one yet that hasn't. They do work with, I believe it's like First American to do those title searches. So Michelle says, I live outside the country. That's what I'm asking. Got you, Michelle. So yeah, so it's, Michelle, it's going to be like it's the same thing as if you were selling a house here. Okay. If you were renting a house and you decided to put it up for sale, it's the same situation. So the same thing applies. Yep, Michelle, not that easy to get things done notarized here. Yeah, I would understand that completely. You can do any e-notary that the title company recommends. So really, you shouldn't have a problem with that, assuming that the title company doesn't have a problem with where you're signing at. But I would think that it should be pretty much anything that you can get notarized as well. All right, great questions, guys. Let me know if you have more questions. We've got a few minutes to go over the data. I'll be watching the chat as I go through this, so please drop anything in there. And let's go ahead and get into the data. Is that all right with you guys? Are you guys excited? All right, I'm excited for data. All right, so we went over where to find the tax deeds. All right, so let's do this. This is, and I know it's a little small to read. You guys don't have to read it necessarily, but I will blow it up in here in a second. This is all of the tax deeds that are coming up for auction in June. Okay, so we have 960 properties as of when I pulled this, which was about a week ago. So a lot of these have probably been redeemed already. So again, we're not going to go through all of these. Obviously, we don't have time to do that. I'm going to show you how I kind of break it down and how I see things with this. Okay. Okay. So Evans, what are the best counties in Florida? That is a loaded question. It depends on what you want. Okay. And I know that's kind of like a cliche answer, but I'm going to show you. Let me just show you by showing you. So we have our auctions by county here. Get that over. Okay, so here is the auctions by county. So if you are in the market for land, we have a lot of counties that have vacant land. If you're specifically looking for multifamily, you now only have, maybe 6 properties. And again, these are probably going to get redeemed before they go to auction. I'll just tell you that right now. So it depends on what you want. I would say check to make sure that they will take wires if you're not close to drop off a cashier's check. That is a good one. And I would go back and look at the previous auctions. That's a really good idea to do. So like we have 41 coming up in, where are we at here? Charlotte County. If you go back, you can actually look at all of the previous auctions that they've had and kind of see what people have bid on. So this redeemed means that they have not gone to auction. When you see this third-party bidder, that means somebody bid on it for $7,100. And you can go up and look at these parcels and kind of see, like if you're in a specific neighborhood too, you can see what people are bidding on for that neighborhood. So they have a lot of information. You can even look at the maps here. That's why I like Real Auction, because they give you a lot of information and things to do. And we can just see like this one, is an infill lot. So this is a subdivision lot that nobody's put property on yet. So if you're looking in this specific neighborhood, or you have an auction that comes up in this neighborhood, which there are a lot, then you can see what they went for previously, which is about $7,100. One point to make, when you see it say to sold to, and it says certificate holder, that means nobody bid on it. And that's where the lands available list comes into play. So say that I had a lien on this property and I was the one that took it to auction. If it said, if nobody bid on it and it said certificate holder, I just won that property. Okay, which sounds great. That's what everybody kind of comes into this and thinks they're going to win properties by buying liens. But that's the only situation where you would own this property after a lien. I hope that makes sense. I didn't confuse anybody on that. So in that situation, that's why that went to auction. Normally it's because something's wrong with it, or it has too many liens, or maybe it was just a kind of like slow auction. All right. Okay, Michelle, how many of the properties you applied the TDAs on have you ended up owning? Ironically, I've only ended up owning 2. So that's how few and far between it happens. There's a lot of competition in Florida, but I also buy really quality liens to begin with. So when I buy a lien, I know that it's either going to get redeemed or it's going to get bought at the tax deed auction. All right, Lola, very welcome. Very welcome. So we'll go back to there. So yeah, you can see March has 1, 2, 3, 4 different auctions you can look at. Okay. And again, you can go through here, and I would say the assessed value, take with a grain of salt. You could have $100,000 property that's only assessed at like 25,000 because it's farm or agricultural and they have tax exemptions. So make sure you do your due diligence on that. All right. So any questions on that? So you don't own it after owning the lien. It almost always gets redeemed. Exactly. So just like I bought liens this morning for Miami-Dade, I have to wait 2 years for those to get redeemed. If they don't get redeemed, which means they're paid off, then I can take it to a tax deed application and that will get to an auction. Okay. So in 2 years, I can do that, take it to an auction. When it goes up for auction, I know that property is worth more than what I have put the money in for it, for all the liens and the fees and things like that to bring it to auction. I know it's going to get bid on. If I want that property, I have every right as anybody else to bid on that property at the auction. So I did bid on one property and got it myself, but I only had to spend an extra like $5,000 or $6,000. I think I ended up making about $17,000 on that. So again, that was vacant land. That was a few years ago. I usually don't bid on my own properties because it's just, I don't know. I prefer to find other ones. So, all right, Lola, is there a website to see the leftover sales? So that would be the lands available list that I had mentioned. And if you just go, let's see if we have Charlotte County lands available list. Let's see if Charlotte County has any. I don't normally look at the lands available, but yep. So here you go. So this is the register's website, charlotteclerk.com, under tax deeds. So you can search for tax deeds here, which is what we're talking about. Or you can click on the lands available. And these 2 properties right here are available. So if you want to buy these, you can buy these properties right now for 15 and 30,000. And just for shoots and goggles, let's go ahead and look and see what's wrong with them. Yeah, so this is a tiny, tiny, tiny little parcel. It doesn't look like it's in a bad neighborhood, but it's probably not worth more than $7,000 or $8,000, which is why nobody bought it. Okay, so that's why it's available for 15,000. Lola, hopefully that answered the question. Let me know if it didn't. All right, so moving on. This is all of the 960 properties that are up for auction this month. Okay, so you can see, if you're wanting to bid on certain counties, how many there are in each one. I know Putnam and Polk are ginormous, and those are normally, there's very specific neighborhoods. Interlochen and Putnam is one of them. If you're looking for seller financing deals, like cheap deals, if you want to buy a property for say $5,000 or $6,000 and try to do a seller financing over the next 4 years, you could easily do that for passive income in these two counties. Okay, so if that's what you're looking for, start in Polk. I don't recommend Putnam simply because there are some situations with environmental changes. I'll just put it that way. I don't want to go into that right now, but I stay away from Putnam. If you want to go for it, go for it. Polk is pretty good. I know there's a bunch of people that do Polk and bid on those as well. I've gotten a few hundred from Polk myself that I just put in my retirement account, and I'm sitting on those, and I'm just waiting for the land to go up. So, okay, so Lila, absolutely great, awesome. Okay, so guys, we are here for land, okay, and just let's look at the numbers. So I just want to show you guys by numbers. This month, there are $35 million in assessed value. That's minimum. $35 million in properties up for auction right now, this month, okay? It's crazy. So you can see Sarasota's pretty high, Palm Beach, these are obviously the more affluent areas. Lake has one for $1,000. So I wouldn't bother with Lake. You're gonna put your deposit in and that money's gonna sit there until you win. So like I am very strategic with my deposits. I like to have at least like a $60,000 bid reserve, which normally it's 5% of that would be the deposit of 5% of 3,000. So I know that I have tens of thousands of dollars just sitting in deposits waiting for me to bid, but I like to be prepared because the deposit, unless you're going to send a wire, that deposit is going to be an ACH transfer, and that may take 5 to 7 days. Okay, so if you're looking at bidding on something on Thursday or Friday, tomorrow or Friday, or even next week, get your deposits in now, okay? Unless you're going to send a wire and then even then give it 2 days, 2 or 3 days. The counties are run by government, and I'll just put it that way, okay? We all know how the government goes. Here are the auctions by date. So obviously we have Mist, St. Lucie, Alachua, these, and some of them do weekly, okay? The bigger counties will do weekly auctions. A lot of them are usually monthly or bi-monthly or bi-weekly, twice a month. So right now we have a Scambia's auction. It's 24, and they are actually probably still going off. Let's just check that out. Let me get my... Okay, let's grab the Scambia. And again, you can go over to this left side and you can click on any of them here. Oh, so they're done. So they started at 9 a.m. Central. They had 86 to start. And we can just see they already went through 9 pages. That's crazy. So some of these auctions will fly by and they'll take 30 minutes for a few of them. Some of them I've seen go as long as like 8 o'clock at night. And it's because people are bidding $100 at a time thinking they're going to snipe that deed. The clock resets, guys. So I always say just put in your max bid and let it ride. Okay. Those people that go in there and they're bidding each other against 100, 100, 100, you're just resetting the clock every minute, and it drives the actual like experienced investors nuts. So please don't be that guy that's gonna take an hour to bid on something for an extra $1,000. Okay. But just to show you guys what we do. So assessed value, there's a $1 assessed value. Obviously this is junk. Somebody still bid on it. I don't know. Somebody still bought it. Somebody new probably doesn't know what's going on. This one here, this looks good. Somebody bought 11,000. And a bunch of these you can see got redeemed. So here, another assessed value, 624. Somebody bid 6,200. I don't know why. Could have something better on it, and so on and so forth. So that's just to give you guys the lowdown on showing you exactly what the auction looks like. Okay, Marion just went off with 3. Marion had some good ones that I may or may not have missed. I did not bid on them accidentally. Hillsboro's tomorrow. So guys, after this, I would go on and go to Hillsboro, and you could even do like a mock bid situation. So if we go to Hillsboro and check it out, so you can see Hillsboro is pretty popular. So they have 5 of the 14 going up tomorrow. I would recommend you guys watch this auction, like watch it live, you know, put it in your calendar and just see what it goes for. You can open up the appraiser site and kind of see like what you would bid on it, you know, do some comps if you know how to do that, and just see what they go for. So someone asked, are you using a specific system to compile all this data by counties? I am not. I use Property Onion. And I do have a free 7-day trial link for you guys. If you want to do that, I'll drop that in the chat in just a bit. But I use Property Onion to grab all of the data, and they basically pump this out. So I have a filtering system that actually shows me all of the information that I want to know about it. And I pull that in every month. Now I've created personally, like this is the raw data I get, and then I format it, and I've created all of these other pivot tables and charts and things like that. So I like fun things in color. So obviously we'll get to some of that in a little bit. But yeah, that's what I do for that. So Sellon's in Hillsboro. Awesome. Yeah, you're right. Again, right across the border. Hillsboro is pretty competitive, but sometimes you can find some good land deals, especially in like northern Hillsboro, just because that's still up towards the like Lutz, Hernando area. So, all right. So with that said, we have our auctions coming up. So again, if there's specific auctions that you guys see that you want to kind of check out, drop it in the chat. I'm just going to go through a few of these because I have the vacant land already pulled up here, and I wanted to give you guys kind of some hints of how I do it. Drop in the chat if you have any questions about specific land or how I'm going to do this, because I'm going to go a little fast. I know we're running out of time. Only got about 12 minutes left, and I want to make sure that you guys have all the answers. Okay, so I'll be watching the chat. If you have questions while I go, please feel free to drop them in there. So this is all of the vacant land that's coming up. Obviously, we no longer have June 4th or 5th is tomorrow, so we can go ahead and drop that in there. And I believe that is only Hillsboro. Yes. Okay. So I have deposits in Hillsboro, so I could possibly be bidding on these. But what I want to do is actually eliminate anything that I don't want. Okay. And the first thing that I do is go to the assessed value, and I look at this. Okay. If the assessed value is this low, there's a reason for it. Okay, let's just look at one of these and I'll explain. I'm going to go to the appraiser's link here. All right, so looking at this, this looks like a decent property. There's probably wetlands on here. I'll just put it as experienced as many of it as I've done, I can tell you there's probably wetlands or it's in a complete floodplain, especially if it's assessed that low. So you've got $645 assessment. That doesn't mean it's only worth $645. Okay, it could be worth a few thousand, but I know that I'm not going to get 10,000 minimum profit from this, so I'm going to pass. Okay, does that make sense? So if this is your deal, you want to pick up 1.3 acres out in, I don't even know where this is, Frostproof. Let's just open it up and see where it's at, because this is Polk County, and I know that River Ranch is out there, which is another weird subdivision. If you see something that says River Ranch, make sure you do your research on it, okay? And I believe this might be it. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is where I have quite a few hundred deeds and properties. This area right here, you're going to hear about it. It's called River Ranch, this whole section. And then Indian Lake Estates is this more developed area right here. So there are a few tax deed investors in our group that specifically target these two areas, Indian Lake Estates especially, because you can pick these up for like maybe 14, 15,000 and then resell them for 22, 25. But you got to remember that you have all the fees on the back end. So you remember that you got to clear the title for $2,000, and then your closing costs are just like a regular closing on a house, where you have a $400 or $500 title fee, processing fees, courier fees, things like that, unless you're doing seller financing. If you want to do seller financing, you can just let it ride. Okay, all you got to do is drop a little agreement. They pay you every month. If they stop paying you, you can just sell it to somebody else. Okay, so it is a good situation if you want to do that. But this is River Ranch, and really this is like a camping area over here. I don't want to get too involved in it, but it's a private. I don't know how to explain it, like a Riviera type resort for Polk County. It's for like ATVs, UTVs, mud bogging trucks, things like that. So people will buy these deeds, and they have a percentage of the property, and they can pay an annual membership. And as long as you have one of these deeds, you're allowed to have that membership, and you can come whenever you want and do all these fun trails and things like that. Okay, but you don't actually build on any of this property. That's why there's no houses right here. Okay, this is a separate camping ground. There's no houses right here because you can't build specifically. So that is why this right here is worth appraised at, what did I already lost it? Appraised at $645. Okay, so I know people that sell these deeds online for about $700-800. If that's your deal, awesome. But like I said, please do your research before you bid on these. Lola asked, how do you resell them? Can you explain? I probably missed your question. Resell, which part was that? The financing or the properties? Let me know that. I'll answer that question. So I'm going to go ahead and take anything that is greater than and equal to. I'm going to do 5,000. That's kind of like my go-to. I would really prefer higher than that. So we can see it. We have everything from like 1.3 million. And our opening bid is 66,000. Okay, so I already know that I don't have enough deposit to even bid on this one, so I can go ahead and delete this. Where do you resell the lands? Okay, so specifically with that River Ranch, if you resell it, Facebook Marketplace, it's kind of like Craigslist. You can privately resell it. You can list it on Zillow yourself. If you want, if it's a high enough value, you can get an agent. So the ones that I buy, I don't like to deal with people and sales and negotiations. I would rather focus on buying more tax deeds. So what I do is once I pay for a property, as soon as I get that deed back, I send a copy of that deed to my agent, and he does all the work for me. So he lists it on the MLS. He deals with the negotiations, the title companies. If anybody requests to do like a percolation test, which doesn't happen that often, or there's like something with the septic or mowing the grass, he helps me with that. So I like to have an agent. I pay a lot for that. But again, I'm dealing with high valued vacant land, and it's worth it to me because I can do this in a quantity level. So I can do mass quantity and not worry about those buyers. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully that answered your question there, Lola. Let me know if not. So here I can see right now, I also like high acreage. I had one of my students, I did a joint venture deal with in Citrus County last year, and she bought a property for $84,000, and it was a little over 5 acres, and I kept asking her to split it. I'm like, split it into 2.5 acres each, and you could get an absorbent amount. Instead, she just wanted to clean it up and sell it. She still got over $160,000 for it, guys. So she almost doubled her money in one. Like she basically paid off her retirement and retired early with this one deal. That was just incredible to me to see that, and I absolutely loved it. I'll probably do like a video on that later on, but yeah, just good stuff like that. And that's not the common case. I just want to put that out there. That's not what's going to happen every single time. That is one of the best deals I've ever seen and done with someone, but it is really cool to see that. Lola says, oh, you're an agent. Awesome. I just want to make sure if there are other ideas. Yeah, like I said, just normal stuff. You know, if you have like Facebook, Craigslist, they do have free or pay, like Liens.com has, I think, like 3 or 4 different websites now where you can post it to them. There's also like freelandlistings.com, I think is one of them, or land-listings.com. A lot of places you can do for free if you want to do it that way. All right, so looking at this, I do see this is 17 acres. This is super exciting, guys. I will probably be looking at this after our our video here. This is Palm Beach. This is probably going to go pretty high. Opening bid's already 17,000 and our assessed value is 206. I probably don't have enough for this deposit, so maybe even not. But yeah, anything over 100,000 I probably won't get just because it does go pretty close to assessed value once you get over like 50,000 to 100,000 acres, or excuse me, $100,000. I'll put it that way. If there are any that you guys want to see, we have like 4 minutes left. I want to make sure I answered all of your questions. And if there are any that you want to see, I do want to give you guys something special though. This is something that I have been working on, and I want to get this up for you guys before we leave. So I have actually been working on something really, really cool. I've had a lot of people ask me for private coaching, and I just can't do everything for everybody. With the lien season that came through, I realized there's a really big need for a membership. Okay. And I haven't quite narrowed it down yet exactly what the membership's going to be. It's pretty raw at this stage. But I wanted to invite the people that are actually showing up, and I'm actually offering like a founding member price. Okay. So this is something like I'm going to be doing these reviews pretty much every month, if not every week, with the founding members. And you know, my time, I normally charge like $600 an hour for these reviews. But really the founding member price, it's probably going to go up to a few hundred a month. I'm actually offering it for like $27 a month right now. I do have a few of you that already jumped in, but I'm probably going to be closing these doors soon. And I just want to get that information to you guys because I'm super excited about it. I'm already building like a course on the back end because I want to have as many people as possible connecting with as many people as possible. So like a lot of you may need financing. I already know there's at least 1 or 2 people in the group that are willing to finance because they don't have time to do the due diligence or the data or anything like that. And pretty much this is going to be like a group like this, but on a Zoom call. So if you guys got a lot of really good information out of this, I think you'd really, really like this membership. I am going to be closing the doors. So this is only $27 a month and it's for life. I really struggled with how to price this. And I just said, I want the people that are in it to be in it like for good. Okay. I want to have you guys are basically going to be my VIP members. I'm going to give like all my original bonuses and templates. If we do any pop-up like auction watch sites, I'm going to be doing that. I'm super excited about tax deeds and data. Like this is all I do, guys. This is all I do. I don't have another job. I do tax deeds 24/7, 5 days a week. Okay. So I really want to explore that with other people and share that knowledge with you guys. Again, like I'm looking for other people that I can also joint venture with. So it kind of helps me in that sense as well. So if you guys are wanting to do this, I'm going to go ahead and throw it up here and drop the link. Because guys, this is like the cheapest that I'm ever going to offer this. And honestly, I probably offered it way too cheap. But, you know, also if you guys want this list that I just created, you can go to, I'll drop it in the chat. I have a link for that. And you can actually just get this list for free because just for showing up. All right. Let me drop that in the chat for you guys. Because I want you guys to have all this. I want you guys to have a really good journey with your tax deed investing. Oh, let me give you if anybody's interested in the Property Onion also, that's the 7-day trial for Property Onion that I was talking about. That's how I get this data. And then here is the free list I'm going to drop in here. So if you want this list that I just showed you, this whole Excel sheet that I just showed you, you can just get it. Just go to that free list website and I'll send it to you. Okay, just that easy. You don't have to pay for it or anything. Let's see. Not into this. Put the link in here so you can. Yep, absolutely. Let me drop that link in there. Okay, so again, this membership is going to be hyper focused to vacant land deals that make $10,000 or more profit. Okay, I'm not dealing with the small stuff. If you want to do that, there are other people that teach it. I am very hyper focused with a very small group that I want to have there every single week showing up, learning this. And I'm actually probably going to do like a 30-day, like a deed dash, so to speak, where I will provide modules and actually teach you how to do this within 30 days. You'll be bidding on these properties just like I do. I don't know anybody else that does it specific to Florida. So I am super excited about that. And I think there was a real need for it. I've been doing the Florida Tax Investors Facebook group for, I think I did it about 6 or 7 years ago. We've grown to almost 6,000 members. And this is what everybody's been asking for. So again, I'm only doing this for a short time. If you have any questions, you can email me. It's info@floridataxinvestors.com. I look at everything. I answer everything. If you have any other questions, guys, please just feel free to email me, private message me on Facebook, and I'd love to answer them. So if you guys got enough out of this, or if you got some information out of this, please give me a thumbs up in the chat so I know I did a good job. If there's anything else you want to see coming up, go ahead and put that in there as well. And I did want to say I'm probably going to do a special group Zoom chat in the next week or so to actually review this in depth with the upcoming auctions and do some case studies and things like that for the founding members. So the founding members are definitely going to get all the bonuses and everything that I would want as a member learning this. So, all right, I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're a little over time, but I appreciate you sticking with me. Again, if you need anything else, Lola Awesome signed up. Thank you. I will send you something shortly, and we'll talk then. All right, have a good one, guys.